Ever wonder how a humble Australian muscle car became the most famous post-apocalyptic vehicle in cinema history? What if I told you that the 1973 Ford XB Falcon GT, hiding beneath all that menacing black paint and fake supercharger modifications, started life as nothing more than a repossessed family coupe? The V8 Interceptor from Mad Max isn't just another movie car. It's a rolling piece of automotive mythology that transformed a struggling low-budget film into a global phenomenon. Today, we're counting down 20 weird facts about this legendary Australian beast that prove truth really is stranger than fiction. From its repo lot origins to its supercar scare connections, from mechanical mysteries to Hollywood trickery, this Pursuit Special has secrets that even die-hard Mad Max fans don't know. So buckle up, hit that like button if you love iconic movie cars, and let's dive into the strangest facts about the last of the V8 Interceptors. Number 20. The repo lot rescue that changed cinema forever. The star car of Mad Max began its journey to immortality in the most unglamorous way possible. It was repossessed. That's right, someone missed their car payments on what would become one of the most famous vehicles in movie history. When filmmakers Byron Kennedy and George Miller were hunting for vehicles at a government auction in 1976, they weren't looking for a star. They were looking for anything cheap that could survive their brutal filming schedule. This particular 1973 Ford XB GT hardtop was just another casualty of Australia's economic troubles, sitting forlornly among dozens of other seized vehicles. The car had been taken from its original owner, who couldn't keep up with payments during the tough financial times. The irony is perfect. A car that someone couldn't afford to keep would go on to make millions of dollars and launch an entire franchise. Sometimes failure is just success waiting for the right opportunity. Number 19. The Cleveland connection that nearly didn't happen. Under the Interceptor's hood sat a 351 cubic inch Cleveland V8 engine, but this particular power plant almost never made it to Australia. The Cleveland engine was Ford's answer to the high-performance demands of the early 1970s, designed in Cleveland, Ohio. What made this engine special wasn't just its power output of 300 horsepower and 380 pound-feet of torque. It was the massive ports in the cylinder heads that allowed incredible airflow. The first Interceptor 211 XB GTs built actually used American-imported Cleveland engines with these large ports, but political pressures nearly killed the Cleveland program entirely. Later, XB GTs switched to Australian-built Cleveland engines with smaller ports and less power. The Mad Max car lucked out with one of the original big-port American engines, giving it that authentic muscle car growl that became so iconic on screen. Number 18. The Graf X International transformation that created movie magic. The sleek, menacing look of the Interceptor didn't happen by accident. Melbourne-based customizers Graf X International were the unsung heroes who turned a white family coupe into a Black Death machine. The company was run by Peter Arcadipani, Ray Beckerley, and John Evans, with painter Rod Smythe handling the color work. These weren't Hollywood prop builders. They were real custom car guys who knew how to make metal bend to their will. The transformation took months of painstaking work. The front air dam and nose cone were hand-fabricated from fiberglass. The wheel arch flares were carefully shaped to accommodate wider tires. But the masterstroke was the paint. That deep black finish was a carefully chosen shade that would photograph dramatically under harsh Australian sunlight while hiding imperfections in the metalwork. The Graf X team created something that looked like it had rolled off some secret government assembly line. Number 17. The weigh-in supercharger that never worked. The most famous feature of the Interceptor is undoubtedly the massive Soul weigh-in 671 supercharger protruding through the hood. But here's the thing that surprises everyone. In the original Mad Max film, that impressive-looking blower didn't actually do anything. It was completely non-functional, installed purely for visual impact. Functional superchargers are mechanically driven by the engine's crankshaft and can't simply be turned on and off like some kind of afterburner. The movie's portrayal of Max flipping a switch to engage the blower was pure Hollywood fantasy. The prop department mounted the supercharger on a simple bracket system that held it in place but didn't connect it to the engine meaningfully. It was essentially a very expensive hood ornament. The real power came from the Cleveland engine underneath, but that fake supercharger became so iconic that when they built the car for Mad Max 2, they made sure to install a functional one. Number 16. The 8 exhaust pipes that were mostly for show. Look closely at the Interceptor, and you'll count 8 individual exhaust pipes running along the sides of the car. These side-mounted pipes became part of the car's menacing appearance, suggesting a barely contained mechanical beast. But like the supercharger, most of those pipes were fake. Only 2 of the 8 pipes were actually connected to the engine's exhaust system. The other 6 were just hollow tubes that vibrated convincingly thanks to the rumble from the 2 functional pipes. This clever trick made the car look and sound more aggressive without the expense and complexity of a true 8-pipe exhaust system. The sound mixing department later enhanced the engine noise in post-production, adding layers of rumble and growl that made the Cleveland V8 sound like something much more exotic. Those 6 fake pipes fooled millions of viewers for over 4 decades. Number 15. The police specification that made it believable. The Interceptor wasn't just any old muscle car dressed up for the movies. It was built to genuine police specifications, which gave it an authenticity that elevated the entire film. Ford Australia actually produced police package XB Falcons for law enforcement agencies with heavy-duty cooling systems, reinforced suspension, and high-speed rated components. The Mad Max car incorporated many of these police spec parts, making it a legitimate pursuit vehicle rather than just a cosmetic exercise. The heavy-duty transmission, 9-inch rear differential, and upgraded brakes were all genuine police components designed to withstand high-speed chases and constant abuse. This attention to mechanical authenticity helped sell the idea that this was a real main force patrol Interceptor. When Max plants his foot and the Interceptor leaps forward, that's real acceleration from a real police spec drivetrain. Number 14. The 3-week transformation timeline that nearly broke everyone. When GraphX International agreed to transform the white XB GT into the black Interceptor, they had just 3 weeks to complete one of the most complex custom car builds in Australian history. 3 weeks to design, fabricate, and install all the custom bodywork. 3 weeks to perfect the paint job that would become iconic. The GraphX team worked around the clock, sleeping in the shop and surviving on coffee and determination. Peter Arcadipane later said it was the most stressful project of his career. The nose cone and air dam had to be hand-shaped from fiberglass. The wheel flares needed to be seamlessly integrated with the existing body lines, and everything had to be painted to a standard that would look good under harsh film lighting. Somehow, they pulled it off, but Arcadipane swore he'd never again accept a 3-week deadline for such an extensive build. Number 13. The dual movie career that almost destroyed it. The Interceptor is unique among movie cars because it starred in not just one film, but 2. After the success of Mad Max, George Miller wanted the car back for the sequel, but the years between films hadn't been kind to the Interceptor. After the original movie wrapped, the producers were so broke they gave the car to mechanic Murray Smith as payment for unpaid work. Smith stripped off the movie modifications and tried to turn it back into a street car. When Warner Brothers came calling for the sequel, they had to buy the car back and restore all the modifications. The sequel demanded even more from the poor XB GT. The script called for it to be battered, weathered, and ultimately destroyed in a spectacular crash. They achieved this weathered look by giving it a flat black paint job and fitting it with massive fuel tanks that required cutting out the rear window and trunk lid. Number 12. The stunt double made from a different car entirely for the more dangerous sequences in Mad Max 2. The filmmakers couldn't risk destroying the original Interceptor, so they built a stunt double using a Ford XB Fairmont, a lesser model in the Falcon lineup. The Fairmont shared the same basic body shell as the GT, but it came with a smaller engine and fewer performance features. With some creative bodywork and paint, they made it look identical to the real Interceptor for wide shots and crash sequences. This stunt double was the car that actually took the final tumble down the embankment and exploded in flames at the end of Mad Max 2. Movie audiences gasped as they watched the Interceptor apparently meet its doom, but the real car was safely parked elsewhere on the set. The use of a Fairmont as a stunt double was kept secret for years, adding to the mythology surrounding the original car. Number 11. The supercar scare that nearly killed Australian muscle. The Interceptor's story is inseparable from a broader crisis in Australian automotive history known as the supercar scare. In 1972, the Australian government began pressuring local manufacturers to stop building high-performance cars. Politicians argued that vehicles like the Ford Falcon GTHO Phase 3 were too dangerous for public roads. The pressure was so intense that Ford announced in January 1974 that it was withdrawing from motorsport and would no longer build GT models. The XB GT became the last of its kind, the final chapter in Ford Australia's muscle car story. This context makes the Mad Max Interceptor even more significant. It wasn't just any muscle car, it was one of the last true Australian muscle cars, representing the end of an era. The car's role as the last of the V8 Interceptors perfectly matched its real-world status. Number 10. The production numbers that make it genuinely rare. Between 1973 and 1976, Ford Australia built just 949 XB GT hardtops. That's it. Fewer than 1,000 examples of one of the most famous movie cars ever made. To put this in perspective, Ford built over 72,000 Mustang Mach 1s in 1969 alone. The XB GT hardtop was always intended to be a low production specialty model, but various factors kept the numbers even lower than expected. The supercar scare reduced demand for high-performance vehicles. The 1973 oil crisis made big V8 engines seem wasteful to many buyers. Economic uncertainty meant fewer people could afford expensive performance cars. This rarity makes the Mad Max car even more special. It's not just a famous movie prop, it's one of fewer than 1,000 ever built, and the only one that became a global cinema icon. Number 9. The restoration that brought it back from near death. After Mad Max 2, the original Interceptor looked like it had actually survived the apocalypse. The front end was damaged, the interior stripped, the trunk cut open for fuel tanks. But the XB GT had a guardian angel in Bob Fursenko, a South Australian car enthusiast who rescued it from a wrecking yard in the mid-1980s. Fursenko spent months tracking down the car's history and confirming its authenticity with Kennedy Miller Productions. The restoration was a labor of love that took years to complete. Fursenko had to fabricate a new front end, rebuild the interior, and carefully document every detail to ensure accuracy. He made one controversial decision that divided fans. He painted the car in gloss black rather than the flat black it wore in Mad Max 2. His reasoning was that the original Mad Max car had been gloss black, and he wanted to honor that version. Number 8. The global tour that made it a celebrity. After restoration, the Interceptor became a traveling ambassador for Australian cinema and car culture. Bob Fursenko took it on tour across Australia, where fans lined up for hours just to sit in the driver's seat. The car appeared at major auto shows and cultural festivals, drawing crowds wherever it went. The real validation came when it was invited to appear at international events. The Interceptor traveled to Japan, where it was treated with reverence, usually reserved for religious artifacts. Car enthusiasts in Tokyo couldn't believe they were seeing the actual Mad Max car. The car's appearance at the Goodwood Festival of Speed in England drew massive crowds and media attention. European audiences were amazed by the XB GT's aggressive styling and powerful presence. Each appearance reinforced the car's status as more than just a movie prop. It had become a cultural icon. Number 7. The Cars of the Stars Museum. Chapter that brought it to America. In the 2000s, the Interceptor found a new home at the Cars of the Stars Museum in Cumbria, England. The museum specialized in famous movie and TV vehicles, and the Mad Max car was one of their star attractions. Visitors from around the world made pilgrimages to the small English town just to see the legendary black coupe. When the museum closed in 2011, American collector Michael Deser stepped in, purchasing the entire collection and shipping it to Florida. The Interceptor's arrival in America marked a new chapter in its story. American car enthusiasts, many of whom had grown up watching Mad Max on VHS, finally had a chance to see the real thing. The car found a home at the Desert Collection in Miami, later moving to Orlando. For the first time in its history, the Interceptor was living in the land of muscle cars and hot rods. Number 6. The auction rumors that keep fans guessing. For years, rumors have circulated that the original Interceptor might be sold at auction. Various sources have claimed it's been offered for sale, with estimated values ranging from hundreds of thousands to over $1 million. The speculation intensifies whenever a famous movie car sells for a record price. When the Bullitt Mustang sold for $3.4 million, Mad Max fans wondered if the Interceptor might be worth even more. After all, it's arguably more famous globally than the Bullitt car, and there's only one original. The Desert Collection has occasionally listed cars for sale, leading to speculation that they might be testing the market. But so far, no confirmed sale has taken place. This uncertainty has only increased the car's mystique. The mystery continues to fuel speculation among collectors and fans worldwide. Number 5. The replica industry that it launched. The Mad Max Interceptor is probably the most replicated movie car in history. Thousands of enthusiasts around the world have built their own versions, ranging from quick tributes to detailed recreations, costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. The replica industry spans every continent and includes professional builders who specialize in Mad Max cars. Some builders have become celebrities in their own right, known for their attention to detail and authenticity. The demand for Interceptor replicas has actually increased the value of donor XB GT hardtops as builders seek the correct foundation for their projects. This has created a strange situation where a genuine XB GT with no movie connection might be worth more as a replica base than as an original muscle car. The replica phenomenon speaks to the lasting impact of the original car. People don't just want to see the Interceptor, they want to own it, drive it, and experience what it feels like to be behind the wheel of the last of the V8 Interceptors. Number 4. The technical specifications that made it a real performer. Beneath all the movie modifications, the Interceptor was a legitimate high-performance machine. The 351 Cleveland V8 produced 300 horsepower and 380 pound-feet of torque in stock form. That was serious power in 1973, more than most American muscle cars were making after emissions controls took their toll. The engine was backed by a 4-speed manual transmission and a 9-inch rear differential with limited slip. 4-wheel disc brakes were advanced for the era, giving the car stopping power to match its acceleration. All these components were proven in police service and racing, giving the movie car genuine performance credentials. When Max stomped on the accelerator, the Interceptor really could deliver the performance it promised. It wasn't just a pretty face, it was a genuine muscle car that happened to be dressed up for the movies. Number 3. The missing pieces that add to its mystery. Over the decades, various parts of the original Interceptor have gone missing, adding to its mystique and creating a cottage industry in authentication and replacement parts. The original weigh-in supercharger disappeared sometime after the first movie, replaced by a different blower for Mad Max 2. That original supercharger is now one of the holy grails for Mad Max collectors, worth a fortune if it ever surfaces. Various interior pieces, trim components, and mechanical parts have been lost, replaced, or modified over the years. Each missing piece adds another chapter to the car's story and another mystery for enthusiasts to solve. Some parts have turned up in private collections, sold by crew members or previous owners who kept souvenirs from the production. The hunt for original Interceptor parts has become an obsession for some collectors, creating a network of enthusiasts who trade parts and share information. Number 2. The cultural impact that transcends automotive enthusiasm. The Mad Max Interceptor has achieved something rare for a movie car. It's become a genuine cultural icon that's recognized by people who have never seen the films and have no interest in cars. The Black XB GT has appeared in countless video games, inspired fashion trends, and influenced industrial design. Its aggressive post-apocalyptic aesthetic has shaped how filmmakers and designers visualize the future. The car's influence extends beyond entertainment into real automotive design. Modern muscle cars often incorporate visual cues inspired by the Interceptor's menacing appearance. The success of recent films like John Wick and Baby Driver owes a debt to Mad Max's elevation of cars as character-defining elements. The Interceptor proved that a vehicle could be more than transportation or even a prop. It could be a storytelling device that communicates character and emotional themes without dialogue. This cultural impact ensures that the XB-GT's legacy will outlive any individual car or collection. Number 1. The prophecy that became reality. Here's the ultimate weird fact about the Mad Max Interceptor. It predicted its own future. In the film, Max drives the last of the V8 Interceptors in a world where such machines have become extinct, precious relics of a vanished civilization. When Mad Max was made in 1978, this seemed like pure fantasy. Australia was still building muscle cars, V8 engines were common, and the idea of them disappearing seemed impossible, but the movie turned out to be prophetic. The XB GT really was among the last of its kind. Ford stopped building high-performance Falcons after the XB series. Holden followed suit with their muscle cars. The Australian automotive industry that produced these legendary machines began a long decline that culminated in the complete closure of local car manufacturing in 2017. Today, you literally cannot buy a new Australian-built muscle car because the industry no longer exists. The Mad Max Interceptor wasn't just playing the last of of the V8 Interceptors, it really was the last of the V8 Interceptors. Fiction became reality, and the car that started as a movie prop became a genuine automotive artifact. And there you have it, 20 weird facts about the 1973 Ford XB Falcon GT that prove this legendary Interceptor was even stranger than the films that made it famous. From its repo lot origins to its prophetic status as truly the last of the V8 Interceptors, this car's story is a perfect blend of automotive history, movie magic, and cultural prophecy. Which fact surprised you the most? Did you know about the fake supercharger or the 3-week build timeline? Drop your favorite Mad Max moment in the comments below and let us know what other legendary movie cars deserve the weird facts treatment. If you enjoyed this deep dive into automotive cinema history, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more behind-the-scenes stories from Hollywood's most famous garages. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most interesting stories are hiding under the hood of the most unlikely heroes.